Well, hello there, how is everyone? I hope you're all well. I was running a bit late today, and I bet some of you thought, what the friggin' hell is he doing? And I've had a bit of a mental day. Lots of things going on, lots of changes coming up over the next few weeks on this channel. Some different types of content and some different locations as well. So it's spurned me on to change a few things, but we'll get into it at a later time, because now we're just here to talk about some meat and potatoes. And can I just say that you guys are looking absolutely amazing today. And look, what we're going to be talking about is this footprint again, just to put this footprint situation to bed. Footprint versus cleanup, I think, is the reality of this, where some people kind of are a little bit confused by it all, I think, because look, at the end of the day, we've got a situation where we've got this 8-hour time delay, and it throws a lot of people looking at the surviving roommates and wondering what the hell was going on in the 8-hour time sort of window between then, and they're kind of thinking that because there was such a vast amount of time, what were they doing? They must have been doing something nefarious, and we don't know that. But one of the things that has really stood out is cleanup. People are saying there was a cleanup, and the thing that kind of, I believe, was the catalyst for this was the mention of the footprint, the van's footprint that we touched on yesterday in the video that I did. And I think I got a bit of a grilling off of somebody in the comments, because they were like saying, why do you keep pushing the fact that this footprint was cleaned up? It wasn't cleaned up. We know it wasn't cleaned up because there was a diamond print in the footprint, and they were able to establish that it was in fact a van's footprint. And I thought to myself, that's actually a very valid point, because you would think to yourself, look, the way that this amido black works is that it reacts with proteins in the blood. So what normally happens, and when you watch all these sort of forensic shows, you see things that have been, they've attempted to clean them up. So it's a smudge or something like that, where there's been an attempt of a cleanup. Do you know what I mean? As seldom do you see an actual footprint with, especially if you look at the complexity of a van's sort of diamond footprint. It wouldn't have been that way. Had this have been a cleanup, and this was an attempt to clean up, all that would have rarely picked up was smudges across everywhere, and there would have not been anything that you would have been able to physically see. Does that make sense? So I think we're jumping the gun a bit when we turn around and say that during the 8-hour time delay that we witnessed in the surviving roommates, obtaining help via 911, yeah, I believe we're jumping the gun, but it's not to be completely forgotten about, because I still feel that there's some elements to this that have been missed, and perhaps by the people who are very quick to say, look, there isn't anything nefarious with this 8-hour time span between when it happened and 911 being called. I think we could be jumping the gun. I'll tell you for why. So as right as people are saying in that, look, the footprint was established as being a van footprint. Now, we, the public, are not 100% sure on what size that footprint was. I cannot for the life of me find a piece of credible information that says, right, the van footprint that they found was this specific size. Some people says 8 or 9, I believe, is kind of the number that's out there. But let's just say that I don't believe that Brian Coburg would have a size 8 or 9 foot. I genuinely can't see that. So if it's an 8 or 9 foot, then it's not his footprint. But again, with the amido black, if they've put it on to this footprint and it's actually brought up a van print and they are able to establish from that, then we can say, right, okay, then that wasn't a footprint that they tried to get rid of. What they're trying to do is establish a connection between what Dylan Mortensen is claiming that she saw and the crime scenes. So what they're trying to say is Dylan Mortensen is claiming that she saw somebody dressed in black, clad in black, bushy eyebrows, walking past her at this specific time. So they will be looking for footprints, and there could have been footprints everywhere. What we've got to remember is that this was a massive crime scene. There was 2 horrific events, both upstairs and downstairs. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to, just say you walked into this house and there's footprints everywhere. So there was actually visible footprints everywhere, and they were just around the crime. Then what they're going to do then is they're going to look at the way in which those footprints, you know what we said yesterday, where they kind of dissipate, they disappear. because I can't remember the life of me. It was a channel, it's one of our subscribers, they've got a channel, and they did this where you do a print, and after, say, 10 or so steps, the print is no longer visible. But it doesn't mean that the print is no longer there. It just means that it's not visible to the naked eye. So there's still prints being dragged around the house. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to form a line that runs from these crime scenes and corroborates with Dylan Mortenson's story of seeing someone. So that it may have been that they were just trying to establish whether Dylan Mortenson had indeed been honest in her rendition of what happened that night. Because she wouldn't have had at that stage the information perhaps of that there was a footprint outside and corroborating her story. She may not have had that information, but here's the flip side of the coin, and that is, did she have that information? Was she told that there was footprints outside and going past her door? And is that why we have this sort of disconnect between originally not having an eyewitness and Dylan Mortenson and Bethany Funk not being, witnesses, and, James Fry coming out and saying, I didn't say they were witnesses, I just said they were there or whatever. But was she then given that, and then they formed a story of her seeing someone because they had evidence of someone walking past her door? So it was almost like being able to go to someone and saying, well, somebody was walking around because we've got footsteps outside your room. So, and again, I know I'm kind of, again, jumping the fence on, so what do you want then? Do you want to try and say that her story was accurate, or do you want to say that her story was coerced based on information that she may have been given later? I don't know. But what I'm saying is we can't rule out anything. But I think it's fair to clarify, and the right thing to do to clarify, to say that at this stage, I don't believe that we have evidence of a clean-up. And if the people who are saying that there was a specific clean-up done in that area, so what I mean by clean-up, I mean in terms of the blood, for instance. I don't believe that. Could they have delayed calling 911 because they didn't know how to handle it, or they thought that law enforcement would think that they were involved? There was other stuff in the house that could have exacerbated that problem, more than likely. And with them being quite young, was there a possibility for them to handle that poorly, so they felt that they needed to sort of get their story straight and get some help, get some assistance, and perhaps remove some stuff from the house? Again, we don't know, we can only speculate, but youngsters put in a situation like that, I couldn't rule anything out. But in terms of actually doing the crime of cleaning up bloody footprints, I don't think it would be fair to say that we have evidence to support that. Not if the report on the Amido Black footprint that was found outside her door was indeed able to be corroborated as being a van print, showing the diamond features in that exposure. Because again, if it had have been clean, if it was an attempt to clean, and it wouldn't have been footprint, they would have literally had rubbing marks all over the floor, and that would have actually not shown you anything. And that could have potentially been pointing 100% to guilt. By law enforcement would have been able to say, hold on a second, why are there footprints in hair that have clearly been cleaned? So look, maybe some things we have to be fair, we have to be right, we have to be proper, because if we don't, and we're only on this side and we forget and we don't want to touch that side, and we're not right. So I must say, guys, for me, with regards to the van print and this, I can't say that I can say that there was a clean up in this house. Not at this stage. But anyway, let me know what you think, what you feel. Let me know down below. Have I missed something? Have I said something out of place? Have I said something that you think's right, wrong? I'd love to hear. And I'll catch you all in the next one.